Hey guys, Average Adversary here, and I just want to start this video by saying sorry. I was really hoping to have this video up last week like I was aiming for, but I've been a little busy. Well, this is my better late than never review of Battlefield Hardline. First off, I'll start with the single player campaign. This is the first Battlefield campaign since Bad Company 2 that I didn't outright hate. It's not great, but it's serviceable. I won't get into the story, but if you've seen any cop show recently, you may have come across what is presented here. I like the voice acting by Nicholas Gonzalez, Kelly Hugh, and the rest of the hired actors, and the characters are interesting enough that I actually wanted to see how this campaign would end. The graphics look really good. It's not mind-blowing considering Hardline is using the same Frostbite 3 engine as Battlefield 4, so basically if you're satisfied with how pretty Battlefield 4 is, you will like how Hardline looks. A story and graphics go only so far, while gameplay is a key component to how good a video game turns out, and I really like the stealth mechanics that is now a first for the Battlefield series, where you can take down a whole area of bad guys without killing anyone. While sneaking around is a welcomed addition, its implementation needs work. Hardline clearly borrowed this stealth mechanic from games like the Batman Arkham series, but Visceral copied the stuff that was already poorly done in those games and missed out to include ideas that made those games good. For instance, in Hardline you have a cool cell phone that can scan your surrounding area for enemies and then have them marked on your map so you know where they are. And the phone also scans for evidence of criminal activities. Okay, on a side note, I've read a lot of comments on the net of people saying, "How do cops have this type of technology in a cell phone?" That's not impressive technology. The impressive technology in Hardline is the sleeping agent stored in each handcuff you use that magically puts bad guys to sleep, and the storage device that holds all the handcuffs you use to arrest people in the game. I mean, that's a lot of handcuffs. Where does Mendoza keep all this stuff? Seriously though guys, it's a video game. I mean, we have boxes that magically heal bullet wounds in a plethora of first-person shooters, so I can look past the existence of a super cell phone in the hands of a cop. Getting back on point though, the mechanics of the cell phone makes this game a little too easy. Scanning for evidence against criminals, oh, let's just look around the room until we see a big green highlight. This spoon feeding was also in Arkham games, making Batman the world's greatest detective not really feel like a detective at all, and the same goes for Mendoza in Battlefield Hardline. And while you could highlight enemies in Arkham games, there were devices implemented later in those games that would jam Batvision from showing enemy locations, making certain areas more challenging and switching up the pace in the stealth sections of those Batman titles. In Hardline, nothing like that is implemented, thus the stealth aspects become the same thing over and over again. What makes this worse is that the AI for the criminals is pretty weak. This takes the freshness I felt from having a new mechanic in the Battlefield series, run a little stale later on, having me arrest criminals without having a proper challenge that would give me a greater sense of accomplishment when clearing an area of bad guys. I've only played the officer level of difficulty in the game, so maybe the AI is better in the harder difficulties, but I doubt that. Overall though, as I said before, the single player campaign is serviceable for a one-time playthrough, and is far better than the single player campaign of its predecessor, Battlefield 4. Besides the stealth gameplay, you can run and gun, and there are a few driving sections and a lot more over-the-top moments like a tank battle and some crazy cutscenes. And while this game is a little buggy, who you holding, Kai? Thankfully, I did not relive the crash field experience that was Battlefield 4's debut. Oh, and if I'm recalling correctly, there was only one instance of a quick time event and no slow-mo breach sections like Call of Duty. Alright, I don't buy a Battlefield game for the single player, so on to the multiplayer review. As a fan of the Battlefield series, I want to say Hardline's multiplayer is awesome. At this time though, I just can't do that. There are a few things off in my experience that held me back from truly enjoying this game. Weapon balance needs some work, and I'm just going to use one gun as an example for this. I've never talked about a gun being overpowered on this channel before, but damn, I think the K10 is a little OP. This is not the first time a gun is overpowered in a Battlefield game, but here's the difference. In Battlefield 3, when people cried that the M16A3 was too OP before it got nerfed, at least it didn't matter which side you were on. You could easily unlock the gun and use it. In Hardline, the K10 is a gun used on the cop team, and sure, people can buy a gun license for the K10 in order to use it on the criminal team, but how many people are going to easily get the 1,250 kills with the K10 in order to be able to do that? Trust me, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And I can play fairly well with the K10 with little effort even if I'm on a crappy team. I don't mind the variety of guns that you had in Battlefield 4 is gone in Hardline, because frankly that's how Bad Company 2 was. Limited weapons, but a decent balance among the options given. Hardline needs something like that. The problem with a gun that has such a high rate of fire, plus a damage rating like the K10, is that Hardline already has an extremely high bullet damage. So either this gun gets nerfed or the bullet damage gets lowered a little. I did see a lot of people saying in the comments that the K10 will get nerfed in the first patch of Battlefield Hardline, but I haven't bothered to confirm this yet. My next issue with Hardline has to do with a game mode I've liked since Battlefield 3, and that's Team Deathmatch. I don't like it in Hardline as the maps aren't catered for it, they seem too big for 32 players, as I was running around way too long before encountering an enemy, and while I thought it was more action-packed with 64 players, the spawn points are really horrible with that many players. I had people spawn a second after I did right in front of me. That's nonsense. What's also nonsense is having XP boost actually impact your in-game score. I mean, I put on XP boost, joined a match late, didn't play too great, and was still the third best player on my team? XP boost in Battlefield 4 helped you to level up faster, but not help you to potentially get MVP in a match so easily. That should be determined by skill, team play, and playing the objective. Getting back to game modes, as I said, I don't like TDM. I also dislike Rescue. Maybe it's because it doesn't suit my playstyle and it feels like a patient camp mode. And after 17 hours of playing Hardline, I've yet to play Crosshair, but I hear it's similar to Rescue, which honestly doesn't make me want to play it. After playing Hotwire some more, what was passable during my playtime with the beta, I now consider a little boring. You earn cash in Hardline to purchase weapons and attachments by playing the objective in whatever game mode you choose, but you earn cash the fastest in the Hotwire game mode that is essentially you trying to drive around in circles for as long as you can. Conquest is still a lot of fun in Hardline, and I enjoy playing Blood Money and Heist. That means out of the 7 game modes offered, I only like 3 of them, but with some tweaks I know I could enjoy TDM once more. Well, at least the game isn't crashing. I have to ask at this point, what did EA and Visceral Games accomplish with Game Changers? All those YouTubers brought together to collab with Visceral game developers to make the most awesome Battlefield yet, and that's not the case. At this point, you might be thinking, damn, Average really hates Hardline, but I don't. I'm just tough on Hardline because I feel this game could have been better. At the end of the day, I still had fun playing this game. It's a decent first-person shooter, and I think it's worth the $40 US I paid on Origin for it. And thank you EA for starting to sell your games at the right price in my country, Belize. I think what hurts the release of Hardline is that when I think of Battlefield 4, DICE has that game a lot more stable now, and it's at a cheaper price, making Battlefield 4 have more value over Hardline right now. In time, if these issues I mentioned are fixed, this could be a nice buy on sale, but I'm worried about the fan base and longevity for this game. There are still a decent amount of people playing Battlefield 4, it's still getting support, more maps are to be released later this year, and DICE will be bringing out Star Wars Battlefront in a few months' time. My honest opinion is, die-hard Battlefield fans have probably already bought this game, and like me may even enjoy it with the flaws it has. For people on the fence, I think more work needs to be done before you consider spending your cash, and if the community for this game dies out fast, because it's being sandwiched between DICE's last Battlefield game and DICE's new Star Wars title, then what's the point of buying Hardline if you don't have a lot of people to play the game with? Anyways guys, if you like this review, please click that like button. I got my GTX 960 now, so I'll be testing that out soon, and click that subscribe button for more content to come. That's it for now, I'm out.